let me talk a little bit about the different sessions that I do. I'll give you kind of the short version of this. So we just finished talking about life between lives, but there's a couple of other sessions. There's past life regression and there's the advanced past life. I call it quantum healing hypnosis, but I think advanced past life regression is a better description. And I mentioned earlier, some people decide to start with a hypnosis session. It's not actually required. It can help you, but it's not required. So the past life session usually lasts about 3 to 3.5 hours. So we start by talking. We'll talk for maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. That's my goal, to keep it in that time frame. We'll talk about you. Why do you want to do this? That's usually the first thing I say to people. Why are you here? Why do you want to do this? And then we'll also talk about other things, about what's going on in your life and important people to you in your life. I have you bring a list of people, the most important people that are or have been in your life. They can be living, they can be deceased. The most influential and most important. I ask for 8 to 12. Some people struggle to get 5 or 6. Some people struggle to keep it down less than 20. So it just kind of varies. But these are typically the ones that potentially would show up in your past life. Sometimes there'll be others that aren't on your list that show up, but you never know for sure. So once we finish talking about you and and about you and your people, we'll talk about hypnosis. Hypnosis is important to cover because most people, like you said, you've never been hypnotized. Most people that come in have never been hypnotized. So it's important to have some exposure to what is hypnosis. We'll talk about it. I send people a recording to listen to before you come in. Self-hypnosis is about 22, 24 minutes long, just to kind of get an idea of what it's like for you to go into that state. So once we finish talking about you, about hypnosis, we talk about past life. People have expectations, false expectations. What's it like? What's it going to be? And so I talk about everything you need to know to be prepared for the past life. Once we finish with the past life discussion, then we go into hypnosis. So I spend about 15 minutes, maybe 20, getting you in a good deep state of hypnosis. Then we go back and touch on happy times when you're a kid. I like to go to 2 of these. Happy, enjoyable times, and then maybe your earliest enjoyable memory as a child. This can be really interesting. It's not about therapy. It's not about finding problems. It's about happy, enjoyable times. Once we get back there, once we connect with the happy, enjoyable times in your childhood, then we go back to the womb, the time before you're born, in your mother's belly, and just see what happens. This can be a very interesting experience. The womb, I never know what's going to happen. It's become one of my favorite parts of the session. So sometimes there's additional, I call it extracurricular activity, field trip maybe, from the time when we're in the womb. We'll just see what comes up there. I don't really talk about it a lot before we start. I just like to let people know that I'll give you an opportunity. I'll pass an envelope to you, and it's up to you to open it or don't open it. Either way is fine. Once we finish with the womb experience, we go to past life. I like to get to 2. Some people only make it to 1. Some people make it to more than 2. So we'll go where we need to go. You get what you need to get. And people find it actually is an amazing experience to explore their past lives. Each lifetime at the end, once you cross over, I like to do a thorough review. And I know some people that do the review before the end of the life. I like to wait until after the soul leaves the body to get the review part going. This is where we can explore many aspects of the life. Now, quite often when people have problems in their current life that originated in a past life, in many cases, it has to do, especially the physical problems, quite often have to do with how the person died. Somebody got stabbed in the shoulder in a past life. That's why she had all this pain in her shoulder for her entire life, ever since she was a little kid. Her shoulder hurt. But there was emotional stuff tied to that too. There was a lot of emotion that was connected to that problem in her shoulder, because she was a man, he died, and he felt responsible for his parents, his family, his wife and kids, and he didn't have an opportunity to stay there to help them so they could eat, have a place to live. And so he felt guilty and a sense of responsibility. And so in this life, my client, she's gone overboard with responsibility. She's gone way, way past where she needs to be in terms of responsibility, because she's making up for lost time for that other lifetime. So I helped her with the shoulder part, but I also helped her with the responsibility part. And that responsibility was like a weight on her, so that added to the shoulder issue. Anyway, we'll do a thorough review and check and see if there's anything. Maybe there's talents, abilities, maybe there's physical challenges in your life that are connected to the past life. Maybe there's also emotional challenges. There can be fear. Somebody that falls from a high place might have a fear of heights. Somebody that drowns might have a fear of water. There are many possibilities in terms of both the physical and the emotional challenges. So once we finish that with the past life session, it's time to wrap it up, and I wrap it up by teaching the person how to hypnotize themselves, and then I'll bring the person out. Then we'll have the little debrief at the end. So this is the past life session. The session itself lasts about 3 to 3.5 hours. And when I say session, that includes our talk up front. It might go a bit longer. It's the same price if we go over or if we end it right at the 3.5 hour point. So the quantum healing hypnosis, advanced past life, what is that about? I just told you what it's about. Everything I talked about, that's what it's about. There's more to it, but we do everything in the quantum healing session that we do in the past life session. Everything up to that point, everything's the same. So what's the difference? The difference is when we finish the past life part, I save the self-hypnosis for the end. I ask you a question, and I just ask you about connecting with higher self. So Michael Newton writes about the soul. And what he says is the soul, we bring in a percentage of our soul energy into our physical incarnations. Not 100%, less than 100%. So where is the other soul part of my other soul energy? Where is it? It's still in the spirit world. That is what's called higher self, the part of the soul that's not part of your physical incarnation. That's what we talk to. That's who we talk to when we connect with your higher self to get answers to questions. Answers to questions about your life today, not so much about past life, more about answers to questions about what's going on now. So some people put questions, they bring a list of questions in. They might have things like, where did I live in a past life? How did I die in a past life? Those are things we find out when we go through the past life part of the session. The questions are more about your life today. Why did I pick these parents? What's my purpose? Why am I here? Why do I like this? Why do I not like that? Why do I get along with this person? Why do I not get along with that person? Can I get a better understanding of my relationship with, maybe it's a person that you get along well with. Can I get a better understanding of my relationship with my boss? I don't get along with my boss, maybe. So there's different possibilities in terms of questions, and I have a list of commonly asked questions. So what about this one? How long does this last? Well, it's longer. It's longer than the other one because it is the past life, but it's got the Q&A part on there. Usually 4 to 5 hours. And again, including the talk. If we talk too much, it might go over 5 hours. Usually if we talk for an hour, I can keep it down to 5 hours. So I'm working on shutting up and keeping my mouth shut, not talking too much, but anyway. There's also a healing part of this session as well. What I often do is ask for a body scan to assess the condition of the physical body. If there are any problems, I might see if I can convince higher self or a guide or whoever's answering questions to help out with that. At the very least, we can find out, what does my client need to do? And hopefully I don't go to the doctor. Because spirit can do some amazing things. I can't do the healing. I can't heal one of my clients if they have a bad shoulder, knee problem. But I've had guides and I've had higher self fix knees, fix a shoulder. I didn't do it. I just asked on behalf of my client. So that's another part of this quantum healing. That's maybe more the healing part. But healing is not just physical healing. It can also be emotional healing as well. So those are the two different sessions that I offer in terms of past life regression. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, everybody on Facebook. I guess you can hear me, and everybody on Zoom for coming and connecting on this rainy day. And I guess that's it. So thanks for coming.